Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's the deal? It's your man CJ, aka the High Value Nurse, checking in once again back with another video. Should be a good show today. Should be a real good show today. Video. Now I gotta switch that audio quick. I gotta switch that audio quick. No, sir. Should be good now. Get some music cracking. I don't want y'all to be bored. Get some music cracking real quick. Hope having a good morning.
They say humans are social animals. They can't live alone. But you can live pretty well by yourself. I tell you, instead of feeling alone in a group, it's better to have real solitude all by yourself.
Uh-oh, too loud. Too loud. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? I don't know. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? I need to get this straight though, cause I gotta present something to y'all. Let me see. All right. Okay. Let me see. Hopefully, y'all are having a good morning though. I hope y'all are having a good morning. My name is CJ, aka the High Value Nurse, checking in once again back with another video. Back with another video, boys and girls. Hopefully, y'all are doing well. Um, and the show started. I just give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna get to the game. It should be a good. Yesterday was my anniversary, so I want to say happy anniversary to my girl.
They say humans are social animals. They can't live alone.
Okay, so that was our headphones. Okay. Check. All right, bet we good. We good. We here. Y'all know I'm on. Y'all know I'm on. All right. All right. All right. All right. We back. I'm sorry, y'all. Forgive me. Please forgive me. Y'all know I ain't got no producers or nothing like that. It's just me. But that's all right because we're gonna make it do what it do. Hopefully everybody is having a good morning this morning. I'm chilling. had to, had the day off yesterday. Me and my lady, we celebrated our 5 years together. It was a good day. We chilled. She gave me a wonderful uh leg. I'm sorry, not leg, but pedicure. Everything was very good. We had some great food. We just chilled and we really did our thing yesterday. Shout out to Impact Life, passes NCLEX. Proud of you, Impact Life. Past your NCLEX. This gonna be a wonderful show for you today. What's up, Nurse Roxy? Nurse Roxy in the building. Nurse Roxy, if you want to come on, I will drop the link right here. You are more than welcome to slide up. I had text you. You probably responded because of this text. And then I know later on you wanted to do an interview today, so I'm good for that whenever you are ready. But yo, man, I'm proud of you, man. And it's gonna be a great show for you because here today we are talking about solutions. We are not complaining anymore. Nurse Roxy, if you do decide to come up, I want you to look at that video I sent you on Instagram. I thought it was pretty interesting. And you will like it. And that's going to tie into today's show as well. But, ladies and gentlemen, the main topic of the show will be how to make 10,000 a month as a staff LPN. That is going to be the topic for today because I am calling this segment of the program or my podcast, I want to call it the 5-Figure Savings Series. Because one thing that I have discovered, and it took me 3 years to discover this because I didn't understand. Having 5 figures in savings, I don't care what nobody else tell you, and you people can do what they want. But once you have the 5 figures in savings, it almost alleviates when you're starting to build your financial profile, when you're just starting off learning how to invest and learning how to do things like I am. I am a beginner because I'm learning all these things as I go, learning how to invest, learning how to make my money work for me. It is very important that you have a beginner's stepping stone to start off with a basis. You need a basis, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe in making things as most convenient as you possibly can. I am very much so a believer of convenience. And with that being said, I believe that having 5 figures in savings, especially if you are a single person, uh, you don't have a family, I think this one is really for y'all because it is going to change everything, ladies and gentlemen. How to impact life says how to best get this money. I am already a PEC and told them today got an overnight at 20 an hour every other weekend, but I want to work smarter, not harder, and maximize. Ladies and gentlemen, that's shout out to Impact Life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to also just tell you I made this very specific for a reason. One, because this is what I'm currently doing in the process that I'm working. So I don't want to speak on anything that I don't know about. And two, I feel like what I'm going to talk about today is the most out of all the things you can do, it's probably the most difficult way to make it. But I think that's good because if this is the most difficult way and you implement this, uh, everything else will be easier. Everything else will be easier, ladies and gentlemen. Um, so we're going to talk about it. And then to do that, it's going to take hard work. Like nobody said that it was going to be easy. Even with the working smarter and not harder, initially it is going to take you hard work to get started. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, it's no way around that. You're gonna have to work hard, you're gonna have to pick up the hours, you're gonna have to do what you have to do, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. You are going to have to put in the work, ladies and gentlemen. But that's cool because that's what we about over here. That's what we about. We about putting in the work. We about solutions. We are not about the constant complaining. Okay. It's cool to address the problem. Notice that there's a problem, see it, acknowledge it, and then it's important to try to get on top of that solution as quick as possible. Okay. So that's what we're doing over here at this channel, addressing the issue as soon as possible. Now, what is the issue? Well, a lot of people are broke. And if you are fortunate enough to be a nurse or have a nursing license, there's really no reason why you should be because there are a lot of opportunities out there. Now, I get it. Some of us have bad money management. I've been a victim of that. And some of us have, blown our money. But luckily, we haven't. Well, I'm speaking for myself. Luckily, I haven't. And hopefully, you haven't made financial mistakes to the point to where it's super hard for you to come back from. You know what I'm saying? Like, getting a car note that's worth $600, $700 a month, and then you got full coverage insurance that's worth $800 a month, and all that kind of stuff, or getting a $3,000 a month condo and all that stuff. Just pretty much living above your means. Hopefully you haven't done that. And, you know, even though I've made mistakes in the past, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, but I've never made a mistake to the point to where I could not easily get myself out of. And that's just a part of the learning experience. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of the learning experience. But fortunately, you can watch me and watch my journey and watch how I grow so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made. You know what I'm saying? And I watch other people so I don't have to make the same mistakes that they made. You learn from other people's mistakes, not your own. I mean, it's cool to learn from your mistakes too, but it's best to learn from the mistakes of other people. And I think that's why having these conversations are now so important, because if we learn how, and see, that's the difference too, because most people document their journey once they've already hit the peak of their success. I think what makes this channel so unique in a way is that I'm documenting the journey right in the middle of the grind. Y'all can literally see my growth from where I started to where I'm going. And I think that's what really makes this unique. And I think a lot of people get a lot of inspiration off of that. So I'm going to keep doing it. We got Nurse Roxy up in here right now. What's going on, Nurse Roxy? Let me get these headphones on real quick so I can hear you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm as you can see, I'm in my not in the office. I'm in my other office.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate you sliding. I appreciate you
Yep.
sliding through and coming through. I'm just, you know, we about solutions now. So I'm just trying to get these cats some solutions from my point of view. And I wanted to start them off with how to make $10,000 every month. But I just wanted to let them know that it's going to take work. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And, you know, it's going to require some sacrifice and everything like that. But before I get into that, I have some nursing stories. And did you get a chance to see that post that I sent you?
I did not. Actually, I didn't.
I really want you to take a look at that. If even if you got to put this on mute real quick, I want you to take a look at that because I really want your views on it. Yeah. Right. So but you don't have to do it right now because I want to get into some nursing stories before we get into the money talk. But let me see, which one do I want to do first? Have you heard about that lady who fell asleep at her job? That nurse, that LPN that fell asleep on a cart, like in the middle of the cart. And they posted, you good, Nurse Roxy? I think you froze. Uh-oh. I think she frozen, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna let her get her stream. I'm gonna let her get that together. When she's ready, she can let me know. But the first story I want to talk about, because I actually covered this in a video, but now they're starting to investigate this whole situation with the nurse who ended up falling asleep on her job, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna talk about that right now. We are going to talk about that right now. And like I said, this is why you have to constantly be on your toes. Not saying that she should have fell asleep on the job. Not saying what she did was right. But you got to understand that people are constantly out to see you slipping. People love clout. And she was wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, let's not get it twisted. She was 100% in the wrong. Nobody's denying that. But it was yeah. It happens a lot. I've never seen it happen at a cart though. I've never seen it happen at a cart. Let me see. Let me make sure I got it all the way on repeat. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. I've never seen it happen in the middle of the cart. And that's why I'm thinking that I don't think that she was sleeping. I don't think that she was sleeping. I think that she was high. I'm going to keep it real. I don't think that this woman was sleeping. I really think that she was on that glizzy, if that makes sense. Because just the way, and I said I wasn't going to play the video, but I think I am now. Because I think it's important that we know the dangers of not being on our game. I mean, one thing I've noticed, are you back, Nurse Roxy? One thing, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. One thing I've noticed is that, especially in some of the places that I work at, a lot of people be taking a license for granted and think this is a game. And I wasn't gonna show the
I can hear
original
you.
video. Okay, I think it's a delay again.
No, there's no delay. What's happening
Oh,
is I'm on YouTube. I have to
oh,
get
okay.
off of YouTube. I'm going using that to get to the link.
Oh, come and stream it. Okay,
I'm good
bet,
now.
bet.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, but I think a lot of
Mhm.
people are taking their licenses for granted, and I've seen that a lot. Have you heard about the nurse that went to sleep on the cart?
Oh my gosh. No, but you know what? I've worked at places before where stuff like that has happened. We had to kind of keep an eye on nurses during the when you did that count
Yeah,
that yeah, where you kind of almost like you couldn't even take a chance.
yeah, and like I said, like if any nurse is coming behind her, they have to be
Mm-mm.
careful.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I think it's something that I think it's something important to share. Because at first I
Hmm.
wasn't going to share the video because I didn't want to give more press to it. But in this video, they have the young lady's face covered, and I just want y'all to see how important it is because your livelihood is at risk every day. People are trying to find any reason to not or to strip you from your license. They're trying to find any reason to get a lawsuit. People are trying to find any reason to get this bag. And I think it's just very important. And to use this as an example, I'm going to play the video. Uh, so I want y'all to pay attention and we can talk about this.
New this morning, a viral video shows an employee at the Auburn Rehabilitation and Nursing Center who appears to be sleeping on the job.
Well, the state health department is now launching its own investigation. News Channel 9's Adrienne Smith is here to fill us in. Good morning, Adrienne.
Hey, good morning, Nicole and Ryan. This video has been viewed more than 1.5 million times on Facebook and shared by nearly 8,000 people. We have confirmed this is a staff member at Auburn Rehabilitation and Nursing, but it's still unclear if this behavior was caused by a lack of sleep, a medical emergency.
Mm-mm.
I wanted to pause it right there because that don't look like sleep to me. I'm gonna just keep it real. That don't look like sleep. She looks like she's high. Just the way she's leaned over. Like I've seen people when they're ODing, when they're super high, when they're so inebriated that they can barely move and everything like that. She looks high. And I think this is important to talk about because I've seen three times in my career, no, 4 times in my career so far, nurses get arrested for stealing narcotics. And how easy it is for nurses to get hooked on drugs. And I think this is very important to talk about because I think the nurse Asina that put her on blast was looking for clout. I do think that because if it was just about her doing a bad job, she could have reported that to HR, the administrator, and that would have been it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The news would have never got a hold to it, but she put it on Facebook. So she wanted everybody to see. She was looking for clout. So y'all need to be aware of people like that and watch yourself at all times. But what do you think when you see her in that state right there?
It is unfortunate, but you know, healthcare professionals are human beings.
Mhm.
So, just like any one of us could be going through a rough, time in our lives, or any of us could have some kind of like issues around substance abuse. That can happen with people in healthcare. But also there's something to be said about some other folks who are drawn to healthcare because they have access,
Mhm.
to it's just kind of like how sometimes people unfortunately will go into childcare if they have it like a pedo um history. So the thing is, it's unfortunate that someone is like that. I think what also is a little disturbing is oftentimes we'll know because it could have been possible that the person who you know shared this information, and I think is kind of is personal sensitive, they could have also may have felt that their concerns were not addressed. I mean,
Mhm.
like, say if hypothetically this was something that was like the red flag for their prior, and that nurse just or that CNA, that professional, didn't feel that it was being addressed, and now they say, I'm going to put this out here, like, look at what we have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that as well. But again, I think this could have been personal, because if it was me, I wouldn't have put it on Facebook. I wouldn't have put it on YouTube. I wouldn't have done none of that, because that's just not how I get down. I would have took it to an administrator and let them
Mm-hmm.
handle it if I was in a situation, or if I really saw that was the case, because I'm not into just, because essentially this person is screwed, and I'm not into just screwing people over just for the sake of screwing people over. She's probably
Right.
gonna lose her license, or I mean, she might not lose her license if she didn't hurt anybody, but she's probably gonna be required to take, like, a drug test, I'm sure, and she's probably gonna be
Also,
required to go to, like,
like
rehab and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't, like I said, I don't believe in putting people on blast just for attention, because I really think that's what this was by the scene. And I have to have empathy for the nurse too, because we don't know what's
Mm-hmm.
going on with her. But that's why I say it's so
No.
important to take care of yourself first, so you don't end up
Mm-hmm.
in situations like this. But
Definitely.
yeah, I'm gonna finish playing it.
Or something else. We're also still working to find out if any disciplinary action has been taken against this employee. Auburn Rehab and Nursing tells us they are aware of the video. In a statement sent to News Channel 9, the administrator of the facility says, quote, "We take the matter very seriously. It was promptly reported to our oversight agencies, and we continue to cooperate fully with them. We also commenced an immediate internal investigation and will take appropriate responsive action to protect the health and safety of our residents and staff." But given the thousands of people this video has reached, it sparked the state health department to step in and invest on its own. A spokesperson there sent us the following statement, reading in part, quote, "The New York State Health Department has made it a top priority to hold nursing homes accountable for the quality of care they provide. That's why the department has launched an investigation into this matter. As this is an open investigation, we cannot comment further at this time."
Okay, now see, this is why I don't know if you're aware. I don't even think I did a story about it. I might have, but in Florida, they are coming up with a bill to where if you're like, you can't sue them for a wrongful death if you're under 25, or if you're not a direct, like a spouse of the family member. I forgot what the rule, it's something like that, but they're making it to the point to where you can't hold them accountable for certain things if you're not, you have to have like certain prerequisites to even sue them. And it's because
Okay.
of stuff like this. Now, I
Mm.
personally don't believe, I don't believe in that, because I mean, if you're under 25 and all that kind of stuff, I mean, come on, who's 80 years old, 90 years old gonna have a child that's 25? I mean, that's possible, but come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, I just think, and this is why though, because now she has put her facility directly in danger. And the press that's around it, people probably not going to want to work there. People probably not going to want to put their family members up in there. I mean, it's just you costing them a lot of money at this point for this, publicity.
Yeah,
But
nursing homes are already under investigation since the whole COVID thing. So
facts.
it is kind of unfortunate, because this was a nursing home, long-term care facility. Was
Yep.
that okay? So you
And
have that, definitely, but impaired nursing is always an issue. I think is a lot to be said about nurses who have issues.
Mhm.
They're not taken care of. Sometimes we get to hide behind some of our issues because we are a trusted profession. So unfortunately, this person does kind of put a bad light on nurses. And nurses do have to be worried about how the actions of one or two bad nurses can impact people's impression about nursing altogether. So I do think that there is something to be said about this. It's not like a simple thing like, oh man, just let her live, or you
Right.
know, yeah. So it is
Yeah.
unfortunate though.
I gotta bring this part into it. People gonna be like, "Oh, here you go." Can you imagine if she was a black nurse?
What do you mean?
Can you imagine if she was black? Like, this is clearly a white woman. a white nurse that's under here. But can you
This-
imagine if
do we know if the Cena is
from the this is gonna sound wrong, but I think from the name and
what was
how
the
it's
name?
spelled, from the name and how it's spelled, I think the scene is black.
What was the name again?
Alexis something. Alexis McNeil. Alexis spelled with 3 X's. So, this is wrong. But I'm gonna
I'm done with you. I'm done with you.
I swear this is how it's spelled. Her name is Alexis McNeil, and it's spelled with 3 X's. I mean, like real talk. Like this is what the news is reporting. So I'm gonna assume the scene is black. I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume she's black. But the nurse is white. I can only imagine if this was a black nurse though at the cart. Like drugs
Right.
out of their mind. Like, oh my God. Like we wouldn't hear the end of it. Just like that one. Oh man, I think I might make an interception. And yes, we're gonna get to the money talk, but I got Nurse Roxy here. So I have to get your thoughts on this. I'm about to bring it up right
Sure.
now. Do you remember the nurse out in LA? The nurse out in LA who had that car accident and
Yes.
caused those people to pass away. Well,
Mhm.
now her attorneys are starting to say that she suffered from a seizure.
Mhm.
Did you hear about that? What do you think about
Yep.
that initially when you hear that?
So for me, that is something that we have to consider.
Uh-huh.
There were other details that came out about her story. If I'm not mistaken, I thought there was some type of substance, whether it was alcohol or other drug use. I don't know or not if that was true that we did get some feedback about her toxicology report. But I mean, it's quite possible. It would be. It's unfortunate that everything that happened in that situation. And of course, if there is any attention we can put to what could have been happening to her that put the public in danger, I think it would be worthwhile us knowing more about her situation.
Right. Right. So I just want to go into the article real quick.
Sure.
It is an unfortunate situation. A very
Mhm.
unfortunate situation because a lot of people lost their lives. And this was an awful look for nurses, like an awful look. And then this is the kind of fuel that feeds into the capping nurses' pay and all that kind of stuff. And like this is what feeds into that whole quagmire. But let me see. Let me start it off. It says now, mind you, y'all, my computer screen is cracked and everything like that. Y'all should see it. So it's probably gonna, if I miss some stuff or if it takes me a second, that's why. But it says attorneys for a traveling nurse from Houston who is facing 6 murder charges in a fiery wreck in Los Angeles say she suffered from a seizure behind the wheel and froze while driving. According to our news partners at the Houston Chronicle, Nicole Linton appeared before an LA judge in court last week. Her attorneys told the judge they plan to have a neurologist who specializes in epilepsy and seizures testify on Linton's behalf. In an interview with the New York Post, Marjorie Hernandez, Linton's attorney said her client hadn't slept for days and insomnia can cause seizures. Police said Linton was driving her black Mercedes-Benz around 130 miles per hour when she drove through a red light and hit multiple cars back in August 2022, causing 3 of them to be engulfed in flames. The crash deleted Ashery Ryan, her 11-month-old son, and her fiance, Reynolds Lester. Ryan's unborn child was also deleted in the crash, as well as Natisha Lewis and Lynette Noble. Emergency room doctors who treated Linton in the immediate aftermath of the crash did not report any signs of seizure or impairment that would indicate a recent loss of consciousness, according to the prosecutor's motion. In addition to the 6 murder charges, Linton is facing 5 counts of manslaughter. If convicted of all charges, she faces a potential sentence of 90 years to life in prison. That's heavy, but I would like to give it a benefit of the doubt. I think that's something that should be looked into.
Of course, it should be looked into.
Yeah, I think it would only be fair. I think, I'm sure this lady did not mean to delete 6 people. I'm sure
Mm-mm.
she didn't mean to do that. Who would? Um, I don't know. It's a crazy thing. Regardless of whatever the outcome is, she's finished. She's cooked. It's over for her. At least from a livelihood standpoint, even if she is found, um, innocent. She
Mhm.
obviously she did what she did, but even if the seizure caused her to do that, like she's done. Who's gonna hire her? You know what I'm saying? Even if for some reason she did get to keep her license, who's gonna hire her? That'd be an awful press for the hospital or wherever she wants to go. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, for me, I think that when you're talking about trials, because I know how things get handled when it comes to us
Hmm.
as melanated folks, I would hope that every bit of detail, all investigative efforts, are put to, action, if for nothing else, so that the family members, who were unfortunately, lost their family members and they were directly affected by this tragic event, that they will have some type of, they have the right for her to have a complete trial, for them to understand what happened behind it.
Sure.
Not just a situation of like, oh, we'll just lock her up and throw away the keys. So
Right.
I think that is a piece. Now, of course, there's a little, little person on my shoulder here whispering in my ears about the case about the kid with the affluenza situation, where for
Hmm.
me, I always have to keep that in mind, that there is such a situation like that,
Yeah.
where you have a parent and you have a child, or even the young man who went over into, he said it was self-defense, but his mother went and drove him over there to, I think you know what I'm talking about. I
Hmm.
think his name is, the kid
Right.
that
I
went
know.
over to, and did those carried out those acts of violence to those innocent protesters, officers there watching this young man walk around with a gun and still didn't say anything to him, as he walked away from doing something like that. So the point that I'm really making is, I know the kind of injustices that we have observed in our own lifetime being carried out in the justice system. So
Uh
I
huh.
would hope that even in a situation like this, where I think many people are very angry about what happened, and many people may have questions, and there's some lives that will never ever be able to be repaired, no matter what the outcome of this trial is. I think she does deserve a fair trial. And
Of course.
if there is an issue around seizure, I mean, hopefully this leads to some type of legislation that protects other people from an event like this from happening again in the future. Because this was a public threat issue,
What?
you think about it.
I don't know if you have an opinion or if you have a feeling. What is your gut telling you about this situation, though?
See, initially when the whole story came out, there was some talk about her being angry about a dude.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep. About a boyfriend and all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So initially I thought to myself, impaired nurse. I mean, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm still there because I haven't really been following this trial the way I probably should. Especially with her being a black nurse, I mean, it would be worthwhile to just actually see what happened here, and then the victims also being from our community. I would love to see the outcome here, but I think that it was an impaired nurse issue.
I uh I'm sure you can find a court transcript somewhere. I haven't done the research to try to find the court transcripts,
Mhm.
but I am curious to what Miss Linton has to say. Because the press really hasn't released her sentiments or her statement unless I've missed it. And if I have, anybody watching, feel free to send it to me. But I haven't really heard anything from her about
Mm-mm.
what happened. So I will really like, before I make, my
Mhm.
analysis and my total assessment on it, I would like to I would really like to know what she
What her
has to say
statements
about
were.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
and Kay says supposedly she was arguing on the phone while driving. So I haven't heard that. I didn't know that if that was a case, but if that was a situation, that's not going to help her case at all.
Mhm.
Uh but I'm sure they could pull up phone records and clarify if she was, talking on the phone or whatever the case may have
Right.
been. But it's an unfortunate situation all the way around. I need to see all the evidence, and I think it is important uh, that we have all the evidence. Now, initially, I kind of felt like you. I was just like, unfortunately, I do think it was probably she might have been impaired, but I'm glad that we do have this new evidence coming into the light. And obviously, I'm speaking of a position who is I'm speaking from a person who's unaffected by the situation. If I
Right.
was if I was the family members of the person that lost, then I probably would be ready
Mhm.
to say, throw away the key, lock her up. She did it. I don't
Exactly.
want to hear nothing else about it. So I'm trying to really stay middle of the road on this situation, but also being
Mhm.
a nurse and being, tired and all that kind of stuff. I understand and I can sympathize with Miss Linton too. That doesn't mean what she did was right. She was
Right.
totally wrong for what she did. But if she had a seizure, that could be a totally different situation. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Because
course.
we need to figure out what her medical history is. Does she have a history of seizures? Is this some new oncoming thing? Because I feel like personally, if she had a history, I feel like they would have been brought that up in the case. Um,
Mhm.
but I think this is a good play by the defense to try to, you know, give her some leverage in the trial. But who knows? But I will keep tabs on this story as it continues to roll out. Now, on a more lighthearted note, I wanted to share this video with the family, and I thought it was pretty funny. And as nurses, we do go through, we see some things that are interesting in this field. And I thought it was funny because this nurse shared a story, and I thought I was like, okay. And I've seen some funny things myself. I told a story the other day about how one nurse got pooped on her face. But I thought this was an interesting story as well. I'm going to play it right now.
So I was taking care of this patient, and she came in for a broken ankle or breast pump. So I'm like, sure. So as I'm bringing it into her, I ask her, hey, how old is your baby? And she says, oh, I don't have a baby. My youngest is 5. And I'm like, that's odd, but I go on about my business, right? And I come back in later to give her some pain medicine. I knock on the door, and she says, come on in. So I go in, and her husband is in the bed with her, and he has his lips around her breast, right? So I say, oh my goodness, excuse me. I didn't mean to interrupt you all. Call me when you're finished. I did knock. And she says, oh no, you can stay. What do you need? And I'm like, oh no, no, no. I'm going to go. Please call me when you are finished with whatever it is you're doing here. And so she calls me back a little bit later, and I come in and she says, is there some type of problem? And I said, oh no, ma'am. I do not judge. Whatever it is, hey, no problem at all. I just didn't want to interrupt you. And she said, breastfeeding is a normal thing, right? I said, absolutely. I breastfed both of my babies. And she said, well, you can breastfeed your family members. They don't have to be just babies, right? And I'm like, okay. She said, I was breastfeeding my husband. I said, again, no judgment here. It's okay. And she said, people drink cow's milk, which is disgusting. Drinking milk from animals is disgusting. So I put my breast milk in everything. I cook with it. My children have at least 2 glasses of breast milk a day because it helps with your immune system. It has vitamins in it. And she said, and it's a great thing to do. And we all should do it. And so I said, oh, okay. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'm going to go now. But when she was getting ready to get discharged, she leaves a little cup for breast milk with her number on it and tells me, if you ever decide you want to start using breast milk and get rid of the cow's milk that is killing you, give me a call. So, hey, the things that other people see in documentaries, nurses, we get to see in real life. So if you were on the fence about whether you want to be in nursing or not, come on and join us. It's great.
Wow.
All right. So let's break that down. Now she's in
That's
the ER. Lady comes in for an broken ankle, whatever. She walks in and she sees her husband. She sees the lady's husband sucking on her breast. And she's like, no, it's no problem. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume these are white people. Okay. I'm gonna assume, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm just gonna assume at this point. It just is what it is. But anyway, uh so the husband sucking on the breast in the room. She knocks. She's respecting patient care, all that good stuff. And she says, "Oh no, he's just getting my breast milk." What do you think about that when you hear that?
weird. I mean, even if I'm gonna just be honest with you, like even if you do something that you are like you're saying you know is not the most popular thing, I think it's
Right.
safe to identify and understand that you're doing something that is not necessarily the most popular thing or not most popular idea. So like you kind of just deal with it as such. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to weird people out with things, my little quirks and things that I do. This lady is actually promoting it, knowing that this is not normal. She knows that a bunch of people aren't. How many times have you even heard it in the breast milk arguments? We're talking about the pro breast milk breastfeeding community, the ads, the commercials. How many times have you seen an adult as the person that this you know, lactating mother is providing nutrients for? Never. So she know that what she's on, even her within the breast feeding community, even in that community, it is not understood at all that well, I should say understood. It is not that's not a popular concept.
Well, yeah. Well, does she have a point though? I want to be objective. I would like to be objective about the situation. Now, clearly, that's a funny story, but when it comes to the whole breastfeeding thing, I'm sure there are all these studies about when you breastfeed babies and all that kind of stuff, how they, to grow up to
Mhm.
be strong. And I'm sure this lady has a point. Um, but when you go and look with cow's milk, some of the things that are in cow's milk and how it's pasteurized and all that, when you drink cow's milk, all the pus it builds up in your, in your system. But does this woman have a point?
I
I
mean,
think
she
she has
may. I, I'm sensitive to cow's milk and those
right,
products. Yeah,
right.
I've had sinus infections with anytime I'm drinking cow's milk, like even like cheesy stuff. In Philadelphia, we have the Philadelphia cheesesteak.
Right.
Anytime I eat anything like that, it always messes with my sinuses. Always. And I mean, when I say clogs me up, one time
Yeah.
ever, I had a really bad sinus infection, but it was because of that cow's milk. So I drink pea milk in my house.
You said what kind
Um,
of milk?
pea milk. So
What's
like
that?
Ripple is the most popular company is one of the most popular companies that sells pea milk. It's coming from the pea grain. So it's like
Okay.
grain milk. Hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I
Gotcha.
don't. Yeah. And even if you even go OD in that like alternative milk stuff, you better look at those labels. Not all that. Even almond milk. I'm hearing almond milk. Um, some almond milks don't even have almonds in it.
Right. Well, I recently started oat milk. I'm not a big milk drinker anyway.
Mhm.
Only thing I really use milk for is cereal, and I don't really eat that much cereal. And I used to put milk in my oatmeal a lot, but like now I just really just put water in it. But we switched over to like oat milk and right. Swin said, "What kind of milk?" Me and you both, CJ. Because when you said pea milk, and I was like, pea milk, I never heard of that kind of milk. So that's why I had to ask you again,
You're
like
like,
pea milk.
yeah, look up the company Ripple. Ripple.
Okay, Ripple.
It is a yeah, it's a yeah. It was
Yeah.
actually my son's pediatrician recommended pea milk when we were transitioning my son off of organic powdered milk, because actually I was breastfeeding for a while and I wasn't producing enough milk. And so I had to transition him a lot sooner than I wanted to
Mhm.
milk. So we had went with this organic brand. I think it's called America's Best, whatever. It was organic powdered milk. And we did that. And I didn't want him to be on that for too long because it was extremely expensive too. But when we transitioned him off of that, we didn't know what else to do. So the pediatrician said pea milk.
All right. Yeah, and it's so crazy too, because actually we were talking, well, me and a couple nurses, I'm telling you once again, fellas, I think the reason, and not to go too much off track, but I think a lot of y'all, I think it's so important for y'all fellas to really become night nurses, especially like in long-term care, and really get a chance to talk to ladies, because I'm telling you, there's something about that night shift that really gets women talking. And I think a lot of y'all are probably awkward around women because you're not around them enough. And I think I think being around women in the night shift, you ain't thirsty and all that kind of stuff, but where you can generally have conversations with females, it helps. You know what I'm saying? It helps. Now, obviously, I'm in a relationship, but I don't know. I think it would do a lot of you brothers good if you were around women and you talk to them. You wouldn't hate them so much because you don't know them. You don't get to know the real them. And when you finally know the real them, you can accept it for what it is and adjust accordingly. But even with that being said, I was, the night nurses, they were talking about being single moms and everything like that and how it's hard. And then we got to talking about the price of milk. Now, I didn't know this because I don't have children. I don't have, nieces and nephews. I don't have none of that. So I found out that the price of canned milk, they were telling me, costs like $30 to $35 a can. And I even found out more that it could be way more than that. And I said, no, thank you. I am not about that life. I'm sorry. I'm not about that life. That's a lot of money to be spending on some damn milk. To all you brothers out there, it's, if y'all really, he said, Swin J said formula is worse. That's wild. And the cost of diapers, I'm not anti-children, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of y'all hit me up in the comments and in the DMs. Y'all think I'm anti-kids. I'm not. It's just not for me. And I want to let the young brothers know the cost of raising a child before it's ready. You got $35 and then they telling you that formula is a lot higher. You need to be careful. You need to be careful in taking on these parent responsibilities before you're ready, because it's going to cost you. I'm doing pretty all right, and I don't want to pay that price tag for no damn milk. So I'm just gonna walk away from that situation altogether. But let's talk about the money. I think that's a perfect transition into the money. Now, Nurse Roxy, before we get into the money, did you get a chance to watch that video that I sent to you?
Yes, I did. Actually, when I dropped out, it was an accident, but I said, you know what? Let me be a good student and a good panelist by grabbing the video. So I did watch it.
Okay. So this Chinese lady, we're going to talk about the money, but I want to bring it to another point first. This Chinese lady, and I'm going to bring up the video. She was dropping game. And shockingly dropping game. So I wanted to play this before they deleted it, because I'm sure her people are not feeling this at all. And that's why I said she must be with a brother. She must be with a brother. She must be with a brother, because this lady was dropping some game and some ism. So for all you people that talk about the bootstraps and everything like that, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and all that good stuff, and, handouts and victim Olympics, I get it. And I kind of subscribe to that to a certain degree, but I want to be fair. It has to be fair, so we can understand where everybody is coming from and the plight of some other people, and why some people want things like reparations and everything like that, because it is about being fair. Now, I know everybody don't like talking about that, but it's a topic of situation. So let me bring this up right now, ladies and gentlemen. This Chinese lady was dropping the game. And we don't believe nothing else until somebody else say it. So let me just give y'all some proof right now, since we about to get into the bread. Since we about to get into the bread talk. Let me make sure it's looking good. Okay. All right. Well, let's get it.
Yes, this is important. Asian American.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's bad.
For this leak free.
Speaking of babies, go ahead, let it roll, CJ.
Hold on, y'all.
Leak free.
Look,
Right. No, thank
CJ,
you.
the diaper commercial's
Look at
perfect
the
timing.
advertisement. They heard, right. They heard me talking about it.
Download Pampers Club now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get that
Americans
out
were
of here.
redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people.
Did
Yes,
you
this is really
did you hear that? Did
Of
y'all
course.
hear that? I'm gonna play it again. We're gonna break this down, okay? For all you people that talk about some pull yourself out by your bootstraps and all that kind of stuff, I want to play that part one more time and be fair. I'm a believer in putting in the work, working hard. But one more time. Now y'all know we don't believe nothing else until somebody else of another race says it. So this Asian woman, she gotta be with a brother. Let's break that down one more time.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people.
Right. So they said no. Get that up out of here. Get that up out of here. We're gonna break this down line by line. Okay.
But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress Black people.
Whoo! Wait a minute. So when y'all get on Tariq Nasheed case talking about he's spreading this anti-Asian hate, this is an Asian woman bringing you that ism. I'm gonna play that part one more time, ladies and gentlemen. This is very important because we're not gonna keep talking about the problems, but I want it to be fair so we can bring it all the way full circle. One more time. This is not hate. This is not spreading division. This is just telling the truth. Let's do it one more time. This is an Asian woman, ladies and gentlemen.
The positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress Black people.
Weaponized to oppress Black people. This isn't Victim Olympics talking right here. This is just straight fact. Okay? We got to give you a basis so we can bring the story full circle. Let's continue.
Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in Black communities.
Isn't that a handout that you niggas love to talk about? Black people always want? Am I tripping? Nurse Roxy, am I tripping? Isn't that handout? They always say black people, all they want is a handout. All they want is a handout. Yeah. I'm just saying, unless I'm mishearing it.
Okay. Meanwhile, Black people want a handout. Meanwhile, the whole government, because redlining is nothing that is a personal choice. Redlining is a government got to participate in redlining. So continue.
Okay, I thought maybe I'm tripping. Okay, but I thought I heard what I heard though.
You heard her correctly. Black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities.
Black people were not receiving loans to open businesses in their own communities. So when we're talking about handouts, it's been an unfair advantage. And the thing is, there were Black neighborhoods and Black Wall Streets all over the country that were profiting, that were destroyed. So let's bring this whole thing full circle when we talk about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. That's all I'm saying. So when people are asking for reparations and people pull it off as a joke, you talking about it's a handout. What are we really talking about? Because handouts have been given since the beginning of the Americas. Let's not play these games here. I hate when people try to move the narrative just to try to make their own narrative look good, in front of other people. That's what I don't like. But let's continue. They all CJ on his blackity black. That's all right.
And as I've said before, as a result of this, Black wealth is essentially paid out twice when it goes to Asian American businesses.
Twice. This lady said Black wealth is paid out twice when it comes to Asian American businesses, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, that's not saying that there's no money generated amongst Black people. Black people are getting money. Okay. They're getting the money, but now they are just more incentivized to spend it with other communities. Okay,
Mhm.
let's continue. Let's continue. Hold on, let me finish.
Once when the individual pays for the goods or services,
Uh-huh.
and then again when the Asian American business owner removes the profit from the community.
Uh-huh.
Because
When they remove the profits from the community, and where is that going? To their community, ladies and gentlemen. It's all a game. We're not complaining. We just stating facts. This
Mhm.
woman, whom is not black, whom is Asian, is gay. And I said her significant other, I guarantee you it's a brother. He probably said, listen, after I make this fried chicken and give you this good loving, I need you to go drop some game on what the real deal is. Something.
Are you funny?
Something. Because she is really telling the truth. Let's get it.
because usually people open businesses in their own communities, and this
Uh-huh.
is mutually beneficial, where the business owner is making a livelihood off of providing goods and services to their community. And by being a member of the community, they're
Mhm.
contributing and they're investing back into the community. This is an ideal situation, and that is not what happens with Asian American businesses operating in Black communities.
Whoo!
And more
Oh,
joy does not.
oh, that's not what happens, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what happens according to her. So, what happens when you have a community that is starved out by poverty? Okay. Poverty creates what? Poverty creates crime. That's just not in black communities, that's any community. Any community where there are a lack of resources will lead to crime. Black people are
Mhm.
not inherently violent by nature. No. If you go to any community and the resources are scarce and people are hungry and people are dying, that is going to inherently create crime, ladies and gentlemen. Point blank, period.
Mhm.
The difference is our crime is just broadcast to the masses. Now, well, people will say, well, how come the blacks that are doing well, they leave the neighborhood? Because there isn't another issue within the community. Those blacks don't want to be around the bullshit and endangering their livelihoods, and they shouldn't have to be. But again, there are different ways to give back to a community and make it stronger. I don't like that talk that Dr. Umar says that you ain't taking care of everybody else's kids, that you're not for the community. That's cap. That's cap, because a man who has no children should not be obligated to take care of everybody else's children in the community. That's dusty nigga talk, and I don't like that. What do you think, Nurse Roxy?
Um. So when you mean about what she said?
Yeah, just this whole thing in general.
Well, I always think about community because for the most part, Jamaicans keep Jamaican restaurants open, right?
Mhm. Okay.
Because Jamaicans will travel anywhere to have access to their people's restaurants, foods, or whatever. So when I think about that, I think about how important it is for Black people to have, first of all, have businesses, being able to open businesses. Because what she's essentially saying is a part of that redlining, where she's talking about not being able to establish businesses in white neighborhoods. She's also speaking to them taking up space in Black neighborhoods. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
they become competitors to Black folks. And are you going to tell me that with the long history of them establishing businesses in Black neighborhoods, that Black people are not competing with them? You
Right.
can't convince me of that. Right.
Right.
And you also can't convince me that they're not probably getting preferential treatment. We've seen what happened with the whole COVID-19. It was a perfect timing where we had the anti-Asian hate stuff. And what rolled out of that? There was bills rolled out of that. There was money, there was a check cut for that and everything. So we understand that there is a huge implication with this whole idea around red tape lining. And then when you have the red lining, how that the long-term impact of that, in Black, not only in our physical communities, but just being able to pass that wealth down. Because there are businesses established in our neighborhoods. like she just said, they take that money, they take the profit, they build up their homes in other communities, they establish whatever networks they need to establish with that money with those folks, while we in our communities having to do business with them, we're not able to profit off of that. We're not able to, if you're lucky if you actually see us working in those stores.
Yep.
And oftentimes, I know in Philadelphia, when we are working in those stores, we're oftentimes working in very kind of remedial, it's not like you're in there being a manager. You're not working your way up to management. There's no such thing as that. You're in there
Mhm.
frontline work, come get you an experience, whatever, and that's as far as it's going to go. So there's a lot to be said about that. And I mean, even what I just said to you, it's making me even think about the fact that what kind of skills are you really gaining if you're just going to be the front desk person at this establishment? There's not really even an opportunity for you to climb. You're not learning. It's not like you're working there and you're getting behind the scenes. I mean, if you're smart, you can learn. Okay, this is how they handle the inventory, but you're not really dealing with that kind of stuff. You're really just there to make sure people aren't stealing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it,
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't benefit us that much.
No, no. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I had to bring that video out because I wanted to set I just wanted to set the full picture. Because when foundational Black Americans are asking for their reparations and people will say, well, F reparations. Well, I think we need a broader picture because people will talk
Mhm.
about, oh, these blacks want a handout. Well, handouts, like I said, with have been given out since the beginning of this country being started, which have put people in position to do the things that they wanted to do. And when you have a handout, it acquires you and it lets you build wealth more. So I don't know. But anyway, I hope all the reparation naysayers saw what that woman had to say. It wasn't a pro blackity black talking. It was actually a Asian woman who gave the game that I'm really shocked that she did that. And I'm actually wondering why at this point, but I want to say that she's probably married to a brother. I really think so. Or she just could be doing this out of kindness of her heart. But who knows? But anyway, all right, I want to get to the ism, ladies and gentlemen. I want to get to the ism. We are not a harp on issues channel over here because even though we have been done wrong in a lot of ways, we want to figure out how to get to the bag. So all my nurses out there, my lady nurses, my male nurses, especially the ones that ain't got no kids and no real responsibilities, y'all are going to love this game right here. So I want to talk about how you can make $10,000 a month as a staff LPN. And I don't believe in complications and everything like that. I believe in making things very, very clear cut. Now, in order to make this happen, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to depend on a number of things. It's going to depend on your region. It's going to depend on your wage, right? So a lot of what I've been hearing, the average starting point for most LPNs that I've been hearing, brand new LPNs, just me, is $30 an hour. Now, if you're making $30 an hour, I'm just going to say $30 an hour, but I know some that are making more than that as an LPN in long-term care facilities. But we're going to pull up our calculator. Hold on. Let me get the calculator ready because I know we got some people that take notes kind of slow. So we're going to just, hold on. We're going to stop that one. Pull up the calculator for the people. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. I should have been more prepared. All right. So we got the calculator popping. We got it popping right here. Hold on. Let me see if I can adjust it. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. We're just going to have to do it like that. So it's real simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's real simple. Now, in order to do this, you're going to have to, just have to put in the work. I work 6 days a week. That's 72 hours. That's 72 hours a week. So, because I do 12s. So, let me see. Hold on. Let me put in my, should work with the num-lock. I guess not. Now my computer want to act crazy. Hold on. So, yeah. So, 12 times 6. Hold on. That's 72, ladies and gentlemen. I want to break it down real clear because everybody be like, oh, people be talking in circles. So that's 72 hours. Okay. Now, obviously, this is going to be before taxes because everybody's tax situation is different. And it's hard to break it down individually. So this is before taxes. So 72 plus 72. And this is just how I do it. Now, if you have a different way to do it, then do it. But this is how I do it. 72 times 72. Hold on. 72 times 72. That's 144 hours. This is why it's important to start off at $30 an hour. I like to start off at $30 an hour because that's what most LPNs are making. And if you're making less than $25 an hour, I really think you need to move. I think you need to move, and you, especially if you're working in long-term care, or you need to hop over to agency where you could probably make around 35, 40. I've even heard some LPNs getting $45 an hour. But so that's 144 hours. Now, if you're going to work your standard 80 hours, and I know what nursing homes is 12 times 3, that's 7, or that's 36 times 2 is 72. But I like to work 144 hours because that's just how I rock. So I'm just going to say 30. Now I make more than 30, but I'm just going to say 30 because I think that's a good point for y'all to start off at. So 80 times, let me see. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. So 80 times 30. Now this is 2 weeks. I get paid bi-weekly, but with the agency, I get paid every week too. But most people get paid bi-weekly. That's $2,400, ladies and gentlemen. That's working your 80 hours a week. So 2,400. Let me see. Hold on. 2,400 times 2. Wait, that was the 80. Yeah, 2,400. Okay, cool. So 45. So we got the 45. So I'm working. So we got 80 hours. Bear with me, y'all. Let me see. 144 minus 80. So we got our 64 hours of overtime. So 64 times 45, because overtime is time and a half. And then in a lot of cases, you can get double time. So what I say, 2440. All right, that's 5,220. 5,320, ladies and gentlemen. 5,320. 5,320. Let me see. 320 times 2. Bam, you had 10,640,000 a week. 10,640 a week. It's that simple. It's really that simple. You're going to have to work overtime. But this depends, though, because if you're making more than $30 an hour, that's going to be more. If you are getting bonuses, that's going to be more. Pickup bonuses, that's going to be more. Weekend incentives, that's going to be more. You know what I'm saying? So this is very basic. To me, this is the most difficult way and the most basic way to do it. But if you got a contract, if you got a travel contract, you're probably making more. You know what I'm saying? Right. Then you got night differential. If you're working on a COVID unit, it's all kind of factors. But that's why I made it $30 an hour. And this is the most basic way to do it. All nursing homes are giving overtime right now. They're giving overtime. So it's not that hard, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to work 6 days a week and at $30 an hour, you can. If you're making even more than $30 an hour, you can do this. And this is, again, before taxes, but it's very easy. It's very, very easy to do. If you got the wherewithal, if you got the work ethic, you can make you 10 grand a month. But that's why I say, and this is really for the new nurses, because I'm sure a lot of seasoned nurses may know this, but maybe not. Stack you that $10,000. It is so important. I really believe somebody would have told me this. I really wish somebody would have told me this when I was just starting off as a nurse. The level of stress that is alleviated when you have 5 figures, like in savings, it's a crazy feeling, because it makes minor inconveniences. It makes inconveniences minor inconveniences. You know what I'm saying? And right. So when Jay said that's 6-figure entry, yeah, $10,000 every month. You know what I'm saying? You're making over $120,000 a year. And that's at an LPN. And that's what a lot of LPNs don't talk about, but they don't talk about it because a lot of them not willing to put in that kind of work. And I get it. It's not for everybody. I don't expect every nurse out here to work 6 days a week. That's crazy to a lot of nurses. That's crazy to a lot of LPNs. But I'm simply showing the guys that and the ladies that really want to put in the work and get themselves up financially. You know what I'm saying? You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of y'all don't even claim. A lot of y'all what they call it when you go when they don't take no taxes out your check. Now I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that, but I know some of y'all do that. So yeah, a lot of y'all getting all that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all claim, what do they claim it? I forgot what the name of it is, but when they don't claim no taxes on their check, they just getting that bread. Now I don't recommend that, but it's really that simple, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna do it one more time just so y'all can see. It's not capping. Most nurses start off at $30. Hold on. Most nurses start off at $30 an hour. I don't know. Okay. $30 an hour. Most LPNs in my area do. So I can only talk about what I know. But you should be making at least $30 an hour or at least 28. I wouldn't take less than 28 at this point. But $30, you feel me, times 80. Hold on. What's the thing acting up? $30 times 80 one more time. That's $240 every 2 weeks. $2,400 every 2 weeks. Okay. I do 144 hours every week. So that's 64 hours of overtime. So 64 times 45, that's $2,880 in overtime money. Okay. So if you make it $30 an hour, so that plus 240 every week, that's $5,320. This is simple math, ladies and gentlemen. This is not rocket science. This is not none of that. Okay. So every 2 weeks, you are bringing that home if you work in 144 hours a week. Now, again, this is not for everybody. So for those of y'all in the comments talking about, that's a lot of hours to work. Oh, they call it exempt, tax exempt. For a lot of y'all, that's like, oh, that's a lot of hours to work. And I don't feel like, working all them hours. And I don't want to work 72 hours a week and all that. Fine. Don't do it. I'm not telling you should do it. But I'm telling you exactly, without trying to sign up for no program, without trying to sign up for no Patreon, without trying to sign up for none of these crazy old cap ass programs, how to simply start off and establish a base for yourself. Establish a base for yourself, especially if you're a brand new nurse. So that's we at the 5,320 after 2 weeks. I done showed y'all check stub before. My people got mad at me for doing that. So I said, no, I ain't going to do that no more. But I have showed a check stub before to show you that nobody's capping over here. I might do it again, but I think it's still in my community tab too. It still might be in my community tab. I might have just forgot to take it down. But, a lot of y'all be thinking people capping, and it's not capping. Everybody don't get on here to lie. I'm about solutions. So $5,320. And I know over in California, they making what? I think LPNs over in Cali making $45 an hour. So we multiply that by 2. Bam, you at $10,640 for the month. So you making over $10,000 a month. You almost making $11,000 a month. And again, this is no bonuses, no shift differential, no pickup bonuses, no none of that. Just straight overtime and regular time. So let's just say you're getting $100 bonus every time you pick up. You know what I'm saying? After overtime or whatever, or after your regular set amount of hours. If you're on staff, you get $100 here, you get $100 there. You getting $2 for working nights, $2 extra for working nights. You may get an extra $7 here for working in a COVID unit. It's money out there to be made. You're gonna be making more than this. I know a lot of LPNs that's eating. They quiet about it. They not as loud as me about it, but they out here eating right now. And I be trying to tell y'all, been eating.
I told you my twin. I said my twin has been seeing 6 figures for like almost 10 years. I mean, and I say that to say she was a nurse. I think she was a nurse probably about 12. I'm going for 12. Yeah, so she's probably going to being a nurse for probably about 20 years because she got into it early, way before me. And been an LPN, and don't carry no school debt. She paid off her program, I think, within like the first 5 years after like, becoming a nurse. And then she was always able to hold the job down. So it wasn't like she was in there scrambling. Even when all the rumors was going on around, oh, you can't be LPN, you gotta be RN, you don't have no work. So she did all of that, made her money, bought her house up front, honey, just treated herself to a brand new BMW, honey, custom made. She sat there and picked out everything that she wanted in that vehicle. I thought I was doing something, my little Audi, because I just treated myself to Audi. But Q5, so the big one, whatever. Well, the Q8 I think is the biggest one, but she killing them right now. I mean, that when I say that BMW is gorgeous.
Yeah.
2023, and my shit got it back in December. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I'm just telling you, LPN money is strong and long, baby.
Yeah.
No debt. It ain't like this cap. You see all the RN cap. The problem with the RN cap game is that it comes with too much debt collection. I actually have some school debt. It's not a lot, it's a little bit, but I have some school debt because of going back to get my master's. But she doesn't have that. For her, it's just straight cash and nice investments too. Yeah, she got nice investment.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, and I'm saying this to say, listen, I know long-term care is not for everybody. I'm very aware of that. I know working in a nursing home is not for everybody. A lot of nurses don't want to do that. A lot of nurses don't want to put in that time. I get it. If you are miserable in a nursing home, don't do it. But I can only tell you about my experiences, and this is all I know so far. And I'm cool with this as of now. So just like Nurse Roxy was talking about, it took, I think my LPN school was $11,000. $11,000. You work in these kind of hours a month. And granted, you're gonna take your vacations and everything like that. But $11,000, I mean, how much did I get on my return on investment?
Right.
If I'm doing this, and this is just base pay, no bonuses, no nothing, nothing, straight $30 an hour, $127,680 per year before taxes, obviously. But come on, you eating well. Especially if you ain't got that many kids, or if you ain't got no kids. If you're in a situation like me, and then it depends on what part of the country you're in. I'm gonna tell you what a lot of the Ohio nurses be doing, finessing the game. So a lot of those nurses that live on a borderline of Ohio and Michigan, the cost of living in Ohio is very low. You can get you a 3-bedroom apartment for probably about $880 a month. That's not the case here, but you can get you a nice apartment in Ohio for about $880. 900. If you really want something really nice, about $1,000, because ain't shit in Ohio. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny, but it's not. You got Cedar Point. That's it. Ain't really nothing in Ohio. So don't nobody really want to live there like that. So a lot of them who live on a borderline, like in Toledo, they come to Michigan, get that Michigan nurse money, then come back and go live in Ohio, finessing the game. And like I said, if I liked Ohio, that would be an option. But I ain't really fucking with Ohio like that. It's cool, you know what I'm saying, for Waffle House and all that good stuff. But I like Michigan. But I'm trying to tell y'all, it's money out here to be made. And the reason I wanted to bring this to the light, because I wanted to have y'all get that base, get that 5 figures in the bank first. That is the first thing y'all need to do as soon as y'all get out of school. Pay off your debt, your student loans, and all that good stuff. Whatever. And then the thing with my student loans is that we got something here in Michigan called Michigan Works. They paid for me to go to school. You know what I'm saying? And then that Biden thing took care of the rest. So I really didn't even pay. Like, I probably paid $5,000 after Michigan Works. And this is the return on investment. These are real numbers, ladies and gentlemen. And like, people be trying to sleep on LPNs. Like, I know, and this is no slight to any RN. I love RNs. And I know RNs go on like Instagram. You got the RN influencers and everything like that. They make RN like pop, seem like it's popping. And it is in a lot of cases. But it's not enough LPN representation out there, in my opinion. And these are just simple numbers. You can be fly and you can live fly. You know what I'm saying? As an LPN.
Debt free. Because none of those and those people, they're living a high life. I'm a DMP, I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a this. The first thing they tell you is that money that they had to pay for that.
For school. And guess what?
Exactly.
I'm paying out of pocket when I go back to nursing school. I'm not getting no more student loans.
Mhm.
Let me not say I'll be a fool to do it, but I'm not gonna do it. It's
Mm.
not for me. I'm not gonna get any more unnecessary debt if I don't have to. It makes no sense to do so,
Oop.
especially if you're in a position to where you can make $30 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Between $28 and $30 an hour to get your money.
Mhm.
Why would
Mhm.
I take out unless I'm trying to build credit? You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm really trying to build credit, and I wouldn't even try to build credit that way. I have some like with student loans. If I wanted to build credit, I would go get me like a little $5,000 car and just pay on that. If I really
Mhm.
if I'm really on some, I just want to build credit type of stuff. Or
Right.
if I really want to build credit, I will go get a secure credit card for $3,000-$4,000. Take the
Mhm.
$3,000, put it on a secure credit card, and just go from there. If I really just want to build credit, or if I'm
Mhm.
or I would get like a Delta card or something like that since I fly a lot.
Mhm.
But yeah, like it's out here for y'all. So this is the solution. If you an LPN with an LPN license, put in that work. Everybody and their mama is hiring. You might not be able to hit agency when you first start because you got to get them skills in and hone them skills down. Get you a full-time job. Don't be like me. Suffer through it for a little bit. I done put in the time so I can talk my talk when it comes to being agency and full-time. But I still got a full-time job right now. I plan to leave soon, but I still got it, full-time staff job. And then once you set up a basis for yourself, then we can start the investment talk. Because none of that shit matter if you ain't even got a base. If you can't even cover
Mhm.
yourself, your rent for a couple months and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still
Mhm.
building. I'm still building too, putting money up to the side and all that kind of stuff. So that's what you got to do. It's real simple, ladies and gentlemen. And I gave y'all the basis, like on bare minimum, no pickup bonuses, no shift differential, no nothing. On a bare $30 an hour. Y'all need to be trying to get to $30 an hour. I feel like you can make this pop at 28. You know what I'm saying? You can make it pop at 27. It's just gonna
Mhm.
be a little bit difficult, but you can make it pop. But $30 an hour, you at the sweet spot. You dig what I'm
Mhm.
saying? This is bare bones $127,680 per year. Now, if you got
Mhm.
that and you starting to invest, we're gonna talk about that later because I want to get some financial experts to come on here and talk to y'all
Mhm.
about that. But we all about just setting up the bases right now in a
Mhm.
5-figure series. I say 10. I mean, I was saying 10,000, but I say 30,000. If you got $30,000 in savings for real, can't nobody tell
Mhm.
can't nobody tell you nothing. Can't nobody tell you nothing. Cause now, you know what I'm saying? You can really relax. And if you do that early, not saying that you shouldn't still go hard, you should go hard. But if you got $30,000, you don't have to work 7, 8 days a week if you don't want to. You can really sit back, work your 3. You save your money. You still put money up and work your 4. I'm always going to be at least 60 hours. That's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? But you can work your 60 hours and you got this in the bank. And now everything you getting, you starting to invest. So all that money's starting to work for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard. We got 16 people in here. I'm going to do it one more time for the people that came in late. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start this from zero. We're going to start this from zero one more time. All right, let's zero this out. So, like I was saying, if you're a new LPN, first thing I want y'all to do is get this debt up out of here. Pay that debt off. Trust me, you are going to thank me later. Okay, pay that debt off. Do what you gotta do. Get yourself established at a nice, decent facility where you can make your bag. Learn something. Learn how to take care of the sickest patient in the facility. Boom, you're gonna be all right. Simple math, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Dang, I thought it was gonna do it. All right, so $30 an hour, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna say 28. Let's try 28 and see what we get. $28 an hour times 80 hours. Okay, that's $2,240. Okay, all right. So 28. What's half of 28? What's half of 28? 28 divided by 2. That is
14.
14. So 28 plus
Mhm.
14. What do we get? 28 plus 14. don't know why it's acting like this. Plus 14. Let me square out a little bit. That give us 42. Bet. So what we say the first one was it 2820 or 2280? What was that, Nurse Roxy? Was it 2280? So
Oh,
42.
sorry.
Oh,
I started typing.
Nurse Roxy getting that other bag. She ain't worried about this little money right here. She ain't worried about that other money right here. So that's hold on. So 42. No, okay. So I was supposed to do 42 times 64. So 42 times 64. That's 2688. So let me do the 28 times 80. That's 2,240. All right. So plus $2,240. 4,928. 4928 times 2. You at 9,856. I mean, shit, you still you almost touching 10,000 a month. And if you multiply that, what's that? 9,856. And if you multiply that times 12, you still at $118,000 a month. So even with $118,272 a month. So even with $28 an hour, make 28 be the lowest you accept though. And if you working 144 hours a week, again, I'm giving you my example. I work 6 days a week though. I take my week off, so my 10 days off of my vacation, and then I'm back on the grind. Quick math, real quick math. One more time. So let's bring it back to 30 because I really want y'all to hit that 30 sweet spot. Okay. So 30 times 80, that's 2,400. All right. Then we got the sweet spot. Then we got our 64 hours of overtime. That's 64 times 45, 2,880. 2,880 plus 2,400, 2,440. Bam, 5,320. Okay. Times 2, because we're doing bi-weekly, 10,640. Real simple. Times 12, 127,680. This is before taxes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say that again. This is before taxes. You dig what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. It's quick math. Depending on your state, depending on where you live, the tax bracket could, the tax percentage could vary, but this is still bare entry. Just $30 a month, no extras, no nothing like that. So you still eating, and then you ain't paying nothing to go to school. Now, I heard some of y'all paying like $40,000 for LPN school. That's crazy. I would never pay that much for LPN school.
Mm-hmm.
I would move. I would go to a school in a different state before I pay 40 grand to go to LPN school. Now, you gonna make it back. I just wouldn't do it. I would not do it personally. That's a whole degree. I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? But this is how you get to the bag. That's the first things first. Number one, getting that base. And you set up that 10 grand for yourself. That 5 figures. Get that 5 figures in the bank. It's going to take work, though. It's going to take discipline. You're going to be stressed out sometimes. You ain't going to be able to go out and trick off your little money like you want to. You're going to have to sacrifice. But I think it's worth it at the end of the day. You can literally change your financial situation in 30 days if you wanted to. In 30 days, what other industry can you do that in? When you really like for real, if you ain't like no doctor, lawyer, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. It's hard to argue with these kind of numbers. But ladies and gentlemen,
I'll say this too. There's also, I'm going to slide this in real quick. There's also so many different ways you can make money, because right now, where healthcare is going, and with all this like remote care and all that kind of stuff, there used to be a lot of focus on that, what that RN could do on the assessment side. And don't get me wrong, even remotely, because I've been working remotely for years. Even remotely, they still want RNs to be doing that assessment piece. Mm-hmm. But there's so many other things you need a licensed nurse to do.
Yep.
That has nothing to do with assessments. Mm-hmm. You just need a nurse to do it, right? You just need someone who's familiar with medications, somebody who's comfortable doing that patient teaching. So therefore, there's so many opportunities for you to even, let's just say hypothetically, you wanted a job where you physically went into, right? So you had a
Mhm.
job like a 3 to 11 or overnight job where you went into, you physically were there. Maybe they just need a LPN to be like, let's say a residential home. They just needed a nurse to be present, to be, just as a supervisor. Maybe you give out the morning meds, maybe you give out the night meds, maybe you give out both shift meds or whatever. But that's really all you're doing because they're sleeping all the night, overnight.
Mhm.
Then you get you a sweet little daytime job where you working remotely,
Right.
right?
And right.
There you
Right.
go. That's easy. That's easy, easy money.
And guess what? When you do get your RN, and let's just say you go into the specialty, you can double that bag. You can double that
Mhm.
bag. We're not gonna sleep on what the RN license can do for you. But again, this is for the people who are LPNs and who may not want to get their RN. That's cool. You can still eat out here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's plenty of food for you to eat out here. And a lot of people tell you, well, 100,000, 6 figures is not enough. Blah 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 blah. But those are people who are really living above their means. Okay, there are
Mhm.
families that are surviving on $30,000 per year. Whole families of 4 and 5. They're surviving. Now when I say surviving, I mean surviving. They're not thriving, but surviving. If you are making 100, and see, a lot of that is for the internet too. A lot of that is capped. Yes, inflation is a real thing, but again, it's about how much you spend versus really how much you make. You know what I'm saying? Because if you making 2 million a year, but you spending 3, are you really a millionaire? Like, are you really a millionaire at
Hey,
that
listen, it's funny you say that because this is also even the case for like some of our celebrities when we hear them talk about their net worth.
Yeah.
Your net worth is, first of all, well, we already know your net worth is really just based on how much like your project. Kanye helped us to understand net worth. If
Right.
all it was one decision, and all of a sudden it was like his net worth. He was no longer considered quote unquote a billion, being worth billions or in that billionaire strata, whatever.
Right.
So most people are not going to, and I think this is the thing that hurts people the most financially is lifestyle.
Yes.
That's the thing that hurts people the most
Yes.
because there's a theory. I know you probably heard of it before called the golden cuffs,
Mm. I'll explain it to
and
me.
essentially what it is it's kind of like what the terms suggest. It's like if you're used to living a certain lifestyle, you work at the lifestyle that you're used to maintaining.
Hmm.
So let's put it this way. Let's say if you're working, let's say as a medical doctor, and you're making like $500,000 a year. Most doctors making that kind of money, anyone, engineer, whatever your reasons are, making that kind of money, you're not just going to say I'm gonna live humbly, like in a humble neighborhood, whatever. Like right now, like not to put her business out there, I try to keep her stuff low, but I live right next to a celebrity, right? I know how much her net worth is because it's you can look it up, it's
Hmm.
online,
Right.
but I live in a upper middle class neighborhood. Like most people with her kind of money wouldn't live in a neighborhood like this.
Hmm.
They would live like, I actually live like walking distance from uh Bill Cosby's property here too. And yeah, so I mean so there's gated, let me put it this way. There's gated communities where there's huge mansions around here, but like she actually lives on my block, right? She lives
Hmm.
on my street, right? So um I don't know if people would live like that next to somebody like myself, right?
Hmm. Right.
I'm only making 6 figures. You're easy making 7 figures. Plus, Bill Cosby, we can't even wrap our mind around how much money this man really has, right?
Right.
So, with all that being said, it's like most people wouldn't want to live that humbly.
Right.
And
But
I
is
think
she
that
really
that's what
making
happened.
7 figures though? Like, is she
That
really
lady,
making that?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's a celebrity. Yeah, she
Okay.
definitely. But
Okay.
the point that I'm really making is she's living so beneath her means that I know she has that money when she wants it. Do you understand
Right.
what I'm saying? Like if
Right.
she needs to put her money on liquid cash right now to go
Uh,
do something, she could actually do it.
right.
But I know some people, as soon as they make $500,000, they got to be in $1 million house.
Right.
And
Facts.
so what happens with the golden cups is if that person, because I hate to think about this way, because I swear, but it's like those individuals who, like right now, we're hearing about all these white collar jobs that's being cut. like the Microsofts, your Meta and your Amazon, and all these biggies being cut. You can imagine some of these people probably, I mean, I don't how many of these individuals were prepared to have like to not have a job, even if they were given severance and all that kind of stuff, whatever, right?
Right.
How many of these people do you think can really just say, all right, I can just work a medium job?
Right.
Most of them can't wait to get into their next, back to the next job that's going to pay them that money, that kind of money. And hopefully there's going to be a job market that will pay them where they were getting at these bigger companies. I'm sure they're not going to be getting hit too hard. They'll land on their feet. But you could just imagine the lifestyles that these individuals are used to maintaining.
Right.
Right. And so I think it's key to live within your means and under your means as possible.
Facts.
So you can actually have access to money. I wanted to live in a big old house. And my husband specifically said to me, he said, do you want all of our earnings to only go to doing things in this home? Or do you want to have access to money to invest it in anything you want to invest it in? And at that point in time, I said, you know what? And I know I'm going to sound like a pick-me when I say this, but he handles all of our investments. I mean, he's an accountant, but he does handle all of our investments. And that was some wise counsel.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I mean, that makes sense though, because like I said, like for me, it makes no sense for me to have a house. And I had to understand that once I got out of the fantasy of what everybody else wanted and really got down to what I really wanted, I had to really ask myself, okay, what do you want, CJ? What makes you happy and what makes you content in life? Fortunately, the things I really enjoy to do don't cost that much money. So it would make no sense for me to have a house, because unless it was just generating me profit, and I'm not home enough to really invest that kind of time and energy into being into owning a property, into really
maintaining it
and maintaining the property. You have to have unless I had a house that was paid for already, that was maybe given to me or I inherited it, that's a different story, because the only thing I have to do will be really to keep up property taxes and all that kind of stuff. But still, you have to still maintain the home, keep the maintenance on the home, make sure everything is going good. I'm not cutting no grass. I'm not shoveling no snow. I'm not fixing nothing. I'm not doing none of that. So it would be absolutely pointless for me as a man who just has a lady and no children, and we travel as much as we do. Like I want to retire on a cruise ship. Like that's what I want to do. So it will make absolutely no sense for me to do that. Unfortunately, I am a minimalist. As much as I can be. I tell people my monthly bills probably on a good month is probably $1,900. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
And I keep it as low as possible. My phone bill is $140, and I pay for like 2 different lines, including my own. And that's funny because my boy was just telling me how he paying $350 for a phone bill. I said, you crazy, but it's probably like $140. My lights, $350
for a phone bill. What's on his phone bill?
Right. He told me he got his business line on there. He paid for his son phone.
Okay.
I mean, I guess
if he got his business line, then he write that off on his taxes. So do your thing, brother.
Yeah, and you know what, too, Nurse Roxy, I want to start talking about that too, like tax write-offs and all that kind of stuff on here. And maybe we can get your husband to come on one episode, because start talking that money talk and how to really manage the money. But yeah,
I have a nurse. And I think you know who I'm referring to, because I recently interviewed her. But I could actually have her come and speak to your audience. The reason why I really want her to speak is because she's a licensed financial consultant, and she's a nurse. So yeah, I love the fact that she comes from our point of view with things. And she does actually have a program every Thursday. I'll share her information. I'm trying to think how I will share it with you.
Yeah, just
I'll share it with
her for me. On my behalf, if you don't mind. That would be
no
dope.
problem.
That would be dope. And like I said, like I just try to keep my bills as low as possible. Like my homie's been trying to talk me into getting a car note, and I'm just like, why? I don't want a car note. I don't need one. If that's what you want, then go do it. I'm not counting nobody else's pockets, but me, I only drive to work and I drive home, really, for the most part, and I go see my family. But other than that, that's really all I use the car for. I don't need it for nothing else because I be gone for the most part. Like that's all I need it for. So to me, but that's never like I've never been a car person. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe
Mhm.
one day, and if I can't buy it cash, like straight up cash, then I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? That's how, but that's just how I work. I can build my credit in other ways, but I'm good. I don't want to pay no 700, $500 car note, and I don't have to. You know what I'm saying? But that's just
Yeah.
me.
Mm-mm.
My car works.
No,
It's 2009
I think
Impala.
that's mhm.
Yeah, and it drives just fine. You know what I'm saying?
I think that that's the number one way we waste money
Yeah,
on on cars and car notes.
right. I tell my
Hmm.
audience all the time, I wear fake jewelry because I lose it a lot. And this is like the only like when I heard Ocho Cinco say, I fly Spirit, and Ocho Cinco said all his jewelry is fake. He said every one of his jewelry pieces were fake. He said, for what? Why I need real jewelry for? He said the girls already gonna like me. They gonna research you and find out your net worth. So he said, yeah, everything, all my jewelry is fake. I don't need real jewelry. For what? And I said, well, there you go. And that's why, I
Hmm.
mean, I've been doing that before he said that, but yeah, I don't wear real jewelry. I will get a roll. One day I will get me a rollie though, because
Hmm.
rollies appreciate in value. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But
Yeah.
other than that, this is the realest piece of jewelry I got, and this was $15 on Amazon. That's about it.
I love it. I love it, CJ.
That's about it. I don't do real jewelry. You know what I'm saying? I might get some studs one day, some real studs, or you know what I'm saying? I said probably the most expensive piece of jewelry I will buy is my chick ring, but other than that,
Hmm.
I don't need no real jewelry for myself.
Hmm.
Because I lose everything. You know what I'm saying? So it don't even make sense for me to have it. But if you like jewelry, I ain't mad at you. That's just what you like. Now I will pay $20,000 for a vacation though, for a cruise,
Hmm.
something like that. That's because that's just what I like, and that's what matters to me. But it's all
Hmm.
about what you like, but it's all about also having the bread put up to the side, making your proper investments and just trying not to keep up with everybody else. Like you don't have to keep up with everybody else to be good.
No,
Do
you
you?
don't.
Do you?
You don't even know people's financial situation.
For
People are
real?
getting themselves into all kinds of, especially these people who live in the social media world. And
Facts.
I think you know who I'm talking about. They like
Mhm.
to walk around in these their quote unquote threads, their Versace robes. And we know that half of the time they sit up there talking about monies that they don't have. You know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And again, like I said, I'm all about, not keeping up with the Joneses. I
Hmm.
respect people are entertainers. You got to
Hmm.
entertain. And people do that to draw an audience.
Hmm.
And, if you get caught up in everybody else's image, you'll mess around and go broke while you're making them rich
Yep.
by trying to aspire to be something that most people are really not. That's why I don't have a
Hmm.
problem really sharing the lifestyle and the work with people because I got nothing to hide, and I get nothing from trying to take from people. Like to me, I believe in karma. I'm not finna give
Hmm.
no false perception, no false image, and everything like that. And like I said, when people see me all dressed up, fly, just know I'm looking just as fly as everybody else for a quarter of the cost because I don't gotta try to keep up with the Joneses. That same Versace robe, I'm finna get off DH Gate or Alibaba for $25, $50 or $100. You know what I'm saying? I'm not paying no 3 bands for no robe. Are you serious? But that ain't me. That ain't me. If you do it, then that's fine. That ain't me. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up. Nurse Roxy, thank you once again for joining me. I appreciate your help. Um, and if you want to do that interview later on today, we can do that if you still want to do it, if you have time.
Oh, we're
Um,
definitely going to do it because I need from you is I need you, and it will be posted on my YouTube, Advanced Nurses at ACD4N, and that ACD4N stands for Advanced Clinical Documentation for Nurses because I'm all about nurses practicing at the highest level of their degree and their knowledge and their license. So I push nurses to go into clinical documentation and go into medical coding and healthcare data analysis, which is the world I operate in. Just a little quick background about me, real quick. I know we were signing off, but I was working in case management for the longest time in healthcare before I started to go into healthcare data management.
Uh-huh.
And I actually had a mentor, the Coding Nurse. He has a great YouTube channel. If you go to his YouTube channel, the Coding Nurse, you will see his information and you'll be able to see the courses that he offers. But he's been my mentor, and I've always wanted nurses, especially nurses that look like myself, to have the type of knowledge and skills where when you decide that you want to move around in healthcare, you feel comfortable doing that, especially in spaces that we're not often represented and we're not often invited. So please feel free to reach out to me at advancednurses.info. And again, I'm shouting out the Coding Nurse. You can go to the Coding Nurse Instagram and leave a message, or you can go to his YouTube to see the services that he offers. But please, I will be interviewing you to get your perspective as a nurse. I love your go get it spirit. I love your grit and your determination. So that's what I really want to discuss with you, because we're trying to get some Black men to get up into the nursing game too. So that's what I'm really trying to tap into with you. So we
Facts.
definitely will
Straight
do that.
solutions. Straight
Yes.
solutions over here. But all right,
Solutions.
ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all joining this show today. Hit that like button if you haven't. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content. I've been dropping like every day, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been lovely. So if you don't do nothing else, get paid, young nerds, get paid, and I will holler at y'all soon. Peace.